Now then, hello everybody. Just going to do a few audio checks before we get going and let some people come in. So we'll do a few tests. Hubby, my sound engineer, has just gone to go and grab me a can of pop, not of alcohol. And then I'll ask him to do a quick sound check when he gets back. You guys, if you can let me know, but he's the expert. The boys are playing. You knew this was going to happen, didn't you? You knew this was going to happen. The boys decided to start playing. So tonight we're going to be talking about the Fab. Just let them have their little thing, okay? I don't know if you can hear them. This is the Mogwai at work. Come on. Mogwais, boys. So they've just come in from being outside and they've just had some chicken. Hang on a minute, guys. Charlie said, hello everybody, just carry on coming in while the boys have their little thing, okay? If you're watching on the replay, we got the replay crew, just fast forward to like 5 minutes in or something, okay? I'll let you all come in, get a drink. Did you get me a can? Have they not got any? You forgot. Right, okay, how's the audio? Hello, Bridget, you've moved house. Hi, Yvonne, how you doing? I'm just waiting for them to stop being little dicks. Lee's here, Gina, Carlos, close to 7, Nikki, Stephen, Linda was here. I'm not sure who else. All clear. Okay, would you do an audio check? I know what I'm supposed to do with these two. I can't.
If they're behind the mic, you should be able to hear them.
Oh, they can. They can hear them. Can you? I've got it on a full what's it thing. You guys, can you hear the dogs? Can you hear? I don't know what I've got it on, but I'm not touching it because it's perfect. Okay, so we are going to be revisiting. Can you hear the dogs, or can you only hear me? Let me know. So the audio is great, but you can just hear dogs. Is that right? Hi, Terry Knowles Band again. How are we doing, everybody? Welcome in. Please hit the like. 8 likes. We've got 30 in already. So, okay, have you finished now, boys? Live from North Yorkshire. Yes, North East Yorkshire, Stephen. Okay, now, I just wanted to say that everyone can hear muffs a little bit. They are having an absolute, Madden. Okay, boys, stop it now, because George is so strong he doesn't realise, and he can be too rough with Gizmo. AI, can you come in here and just help, please? Because I can't. As soon as I hit the live button, they start. AI, come in here, please, and come and play with these dogs because they do me head in. Right, okay. So we've got 33 watching. Illuminati confirmed. Now, for those of you, hi Wendy, hi Tippy Toes, hi everybody. If I've missed you, I'm sorry. I'm going to crack on, not read the chat. For those of you that have been with me for a while, hi Carlos, we have covered this several times before. Now, I've been harping on about the, just stay there a minute. I have been harping on about the Fabians for a long time. Hello, Mr. Chico, how you doing? For quite a long time. Are you Chico Summers or are you a different Chico? For quite a long time now, and several years, in fact. We've been exposing this hygiene. Now, yeah, Alex Phillips from Talk TV has decided to talk about this. Now, in my opinion, there's either two things have gone on here. Either she's a terrible journalist, just like the rest of them, and they didn't know. Or secondly, they did know, and they just weren't allowed to talk about it. I think more so the second one. Hi, Mocha, how you doing? You're in the States. Let me know if you've heard about the Fabian Society. So we're going to be talking about them. What we're going to do, just quickly, a quick overview before I continue about what we've talked about in the past. We're going to do this in a couple of shows because I'm going to start at the beginning. I'm going to start with the very, very basics for those of you who don't know what it is. And then the part 2, we're going to go deeper. The more I research about this, the more I've uncovered just today in getting some fresh, refreshing my mind. Big up to our members. Thank you very much for joining us. It does help when you get in the draw to win the £10 Amazon gift card that will be coming out on Tuesday, but I've spoken to the winners, but they will be coming out on Tuesday. Hello, Sing Blue Silver. How are you doing? So yeah, we've spoke about this. It's been going on for years. She was really late to the party. Hello, Amethyst, my love. How are you doing? Thanks for being a member. So now everyone's talking about this now. Okay, so I just want to put that out there. All right. for those people that are saying, hi, Joe, oh, you're jumping on the bandwagon. Hi, New Hubby. No. We've been talking about this for years, okay? Long time now. Right, let me just get Amethyst's comment up so she doesn't know what it is, which is good because we want to start at the beginning and, you know, carry on from where we're not going to carry on from last time. We're going to start from the beginning. So everyone's talking about this now, which is actually a detriment to us because no, Fabian and Masons are two totally different things. They're actually opposing. And in my opinion, the Fabians are far more dangerous than the Freemasons, which is what I've been saying for years. You think of a Freemason and all this New World Order. Hi, Fairy. Actually, it's wrong. Hi, Anne. You're all right, darling. I know you've been going through a lot with little Soph. Lots of love, darling. She's so cute. I'm getting distracted again. Right, okay. So audio's good. Right. The Fabians and the Freemasons are two totally different and very opposing groups. And I've been talking about the Fabians for years. They are far more dangerous than the Freemasonry movement. And that's my opinion. Hi, Texas. That's my opinion. But you guys are welcome to your own opinion when we get to the end of this. So we're going to do part 1 today. And then we're going to go a bit deeper, probably midweek. Okay, so we'll go for like Wednesday. Unless I go to the cinema. I think I'm going on Thursday, but I'll just get confirmation from my friend on what day we're going. But we're going to go for Wednesday unless anything changes. Now, we're going to get into the very first emblem, and then we're going to get into the basics of the Fabian Society because it was formed in 1884. Now, let's just get into the emblem first of all, because that will help us. Let me just try and get a big picture up. Just bear with me a moment. I hope you're all okay. I hope you've all had the kettle on or whatever you're drinking and you're all comfy. Right, let's just get a picture up so I can show you. So they don't use this emblem anymore because they said it had a, I quote, negative effect on the movement. So let's just, I can't find one that's going to be showing it us without it. Come on. Right, fab. Okay. Don't know what Al's laughing at. Is someone joking in the chat? Okay, so while I've got the emblem up, I'm going to give you a brief overview of this. Hi, Tamsin. Now, as you can see there, that is the original Fabian Society logo, FS Fabian Society. We have a wolf there holding on to the Fabian Society flag. And we have a sheep that is dead that has been draped over the wolf's back. Now, that is a wolf in sheep's clothing. That is what the Fabian Society was founded on. Hi, Rach. If a lot of you will know this already, but we need to go back to basics. You can't see anything on screen. Really? Right. You should be able to. You should be able to see 2 wolves. I don't know why they've done 2, but they have. Guys, can you see what I'm looking at now? Let me know if you can see the emblems. If not, then I need... Okay, right. I don't know what's going on there because Lovely Jubbly can see. Okay, Singbridge. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Okay, so that's the first thing I wanted to talk about. That is their emblem. All right, which is, you can see the wolves. Thank you very much. Okay, the flag is red for communism, yes, and we've got the Fabian Society. So just a brief overview. The Fabian Society was founded in 1884. Now we're going to get into the founding members in a moment, but we're not going to go deep into them in part 1 because this is just a brief overview. I haven't watched Alex Phillips's what she did because the thing is with me, I don't want to watch other people I want to watch their research. I want to do my own. And we've already covered this, okay? We've covered it. Whether she's picked up things I don't know that I didn't, or there's things I will, I don't know. But on my own person, I know she's covered it because Al mentioned it and it came up on my home feed on YouTube, but I haven't watched it, okay? So the first thing I want to mention is when they were founded in 1884. Now, a prominent member of the Fabian Society, he wasn't a founding member, but it is worth noting that it was George Orwell. Now, George Orwell, we're going to get into him more in a moment. He wrote the book, as you know, 1984. So the Fabians were, his name was Eric Arthur Blair, and the Fabians were started officially in 1884, though there was a society just before that we'll get into in a moment. Now, you know, hi DJ, you know nothing on the Fabians. Okay, that's fine. We're starting completely from the beginning, like fresh, okay? So don't worry about that. So this has got absolutely nothing to do with Freemasons, okay? That is a complete separate secret society. That is far less secret. Gizmo, stop it. That is far less secret than these. So George Orwell was originally a member. Now, he decided that he didn't want to be involved in this anymore. He didn't like the look of this anymore. And he left. Now, when he wrote 1984, he was exposing what was coming, because the other emblem for the, let me just get this up now. The other emblem for the Fabians is the tortoise. So let's get that up now. Now, this tortoise is slow and steady wins the race. They had a 100-year plan. That is what they wanted to do, and that is what they did, and that is what Eric Arthur Blair knew about. He knew what was coming. So he wrote the book 1984 because he wanted to show people what was going to be coming. Now, before the Fabian Society in 1884 was actually another society called the Fellowship of New Life. Now, that was founded before, and the Fabians were an offshoot of this. In the late Victorian era, in Britain, it was all pretty strict. The workers, I can understand why they wanted to do this originally. Not the Fabians, this. The workers were treated terribly. There was a lot of rich people and so on and so on. So they wanted a movement, and socialism was coming of age. Now, we had Karl Marx in the Marx movement in 1845, and that was going on at a similar time. That was still going on, and the Marxist movement was more about a revolution, about taking over and giving fairness to everybody, and nobody owns anything, and everyone is gonna be the same, which doesn't work in human nature. Now, the Fellowship of New Life was a new organisation, and the Fabian Society come from this. This was founded just in 1883, and it was founded by the Scottish intellectual Thomas Davidson. Now, the founding members, there was an animal rights activist in there was a sexologist in there. What the hell's one of them when they were at home? A feminist in there. And future UK Prime Minister was also a member. Ramsay MacDonald was briefly a member. So this is what they started off as before they turned into the Fabians. And I'm just going to brief over this. I'm not going to go deep into this fellowship because this was only around for like a couple of years. But their objective was the cultivation of a perfect character in each and all. They wanted to transform society by setting an example of clean, simplified living for others to follow. Many of the members advocated pacifism, which is like your Jeremy Corbyn types. They don't want war. They just want to let everything go over their heads. Vegetarianism, which was really unheard of in the late 1800s. in the late 1885, 86 time, and simple living. Now, when some of the members also, now they didn't want to be politically involved. The fellowship did not want to get involved in politics. They were just a group that wanted to, push their ideas. That's fine. But then some of the members wanted to get involved in politics, to politically involved, to aid society's transformation. And it was decided that a separate society known as the Fabian Society would also be set up. All members were free to attend both. The Fellowship of New Life disbanded in 1898 because basically nobody wanted to talk about it. Nobody wanted to know. They wanted to get involved. They wanted to change the government. So this is where the Fabians were born. Okay, that's the beginning of the Fabian Society. It was a socialist movement. It was in politics, and they wanted to change everything. They wanted to embed themselves in we'll get more into universities later, in government, and so on and so on. So we're going to go right back to the beginning. So let me grab up the links I've got ready to go. Okay, so just bear with me. And we will talk about the very, very basics and why they're called the Fabian Society. We're going to talk about that today, that why they're called it, their emblems, what they mean. There's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot of discussion on the base upon some of their members as well. And let me just find this link. Just bear with me a sec. I can't find it now. It's always the way, isn't it? Right, let me just grab this link. One tick. One sec, folks, because this is the most important one I want to speak to you about, and it's disappeared. So right, okay. So some of the things that it's really, really creepy as well about today, briefly again. But we're going to start with this article that was actually written by, ironically, some Freemason group, because the Freemasons, like them or love them, they have been exposing the Fabians for many years. And I'm not a Mason. I don't support the Freemasons, but if they're exposing this lot, then hats off to them, because they get a lot of the blame for this stuff. Now, first of all, we're going to look at this. So this is the very first, this glass, okay, this stained glass. Here we go. So we've got there's the emblem there. This was like that when they founded. We've got people praying to books. So they don't believe in Christianity. They believe in science. Eugenics as well. I think that's going to have to be a separate one, because they did a lot in eugenics. Who else was involved in eugenics? We had Eggstein, but that's a separate issue. Nazism, even that's not today, but the further episodes on this, even Mr. H.I.T. Eliar himself was impressed with this, and he was involved in eugenics. This goes deeper than you can imagine. All right. So the Fabian Society. So we're going to get a bit of basics on it now, and then we'll go further in. Okay, we'll talk about today's members as well, but I just want to get to the beginning. I want to get to the start of this for those of you who don't understand it. Okay, the Fabian is a private elitist society that has been working in the shadow in England since it was formed in 1884. Its members aspire to form a socialist world government that would wipe out human rights, lead to the appropriation by the state of all private property. Now, just look at what's happening right now, okay? Just saying. give parity of rights to individuals who practice aberrations, like, and I'm quoting here, okay, so don't, like homosexuality. So they want to give more rights to people that practice homosexuality, one-sex marriages, one-sex parenting, transgenderism, and so forth. Such global government would be formed with leaders chosen because of their superior intelligence. Now, does that sound like something that could be happening today? I've lost my spanner. No, you shouldn't have. Is that the real Lucy? Maybe you've not been in here for a while, love. Sorry, I've just checked the chat. Let me give you a spanner. The one, my love. Okay, I just glanced at chat, so I'm going to ignore chat. Hi. Inviting Wendy over. Okay, so are we all following at the moment then? So we know the basics. We know when it was founded. We know a bit about it. So I'm going to continue. Guys, if you've got any questions, just let me know. And I will, when I've read this piece. I say I'm no expert. I've just been researching it for a few years. So I've got a little bit of knowledge on it. Now, the Fabian Society, it's just talking about more modern stuff though. I'm going to continue with this, but then I'm going to go back to the beginning because the beginning is where it's really important. The Fabian Society had a renaissance during Tony Blair's term as Prime Minister. So it sort of like died down over the years, but it never went away. Of the United Kingdom from 1997 to 2007. But even his successor, Gordon Brown, the present Labour leader, Keir Starmer, and his predecessor, Jeremy Corbyn, are members. They're all members, okay? Basically, the Fabians are what founded the Labour Party. Originally, when this Fabian Society splinter group broke off from the Fellowship of New Life, they didn't plan on being just a one-sided party. They tried to, because the Conservatives were already there, okay? There was Liberals, but there wasn't a Labour Party. There was the Conservatives and there was Liberal little parties. And they tried to infiltrate the left and the right, the Fabians did. But they sort of hit brick walls with the right as much as the left were more interested. Your liberal Christians, all the liberal side, the workers groups, they were more interested. And that is why the Fabians were behind the founding of the Labour Party. The Labour Party is built on the Fabian Society. Okay, so that's just a fact, and they admit it on their website, and we're going to get proof up of that soon. But I just want to read this article. Okay, so when you think of the Labour Party, think of the Fabian Society. Now, again, I don't know whether Alex Phillips has genuinely not been able to talk about this, because I've been saying this for years. Why aren't they talking about this on mainstream media? And the thing is, it's become a detriment now because a lot of it's been wiped. A lot of this stuff, when I went looking, just has been wiped. I've had to refer back to my notes from 3 years ago, the last time I covered it, whenever it was a while ago. So people that are starting it fresh now might struggle. So I'm going to be dropping these links in. So if you want to go and check these links out, you can. Okay. Is everybody okay in chat? We got 45 watching. Please hit the like, guys. And if you are asking questions, I might miss some of them because I'm not going to be looking at chat as much. Okay. So this is just talking briefly about today. In 2020, in London re-elected Sadiq Khan as the mayor. The son of immigrants, Khan succeeded the Tory Liberal Boris Johnson in 2016 and is considered a moderate Muslim. He was from 2008 to 2010 the president of the elitist Fabian Society. So he's a famous Fabian now. Now, again, the coat of arms, we've spoken about this, of the Fabian depicts the wolf in sheep's clothing. They got rid of this now, though. They've got rid of it. They don't want you to talk about that, okay? Pointing to the society's policy of deception. The society wishes to run the world and is as sinister as the Illuminati. And here they're talking about the treacherous Rotary Club, which I haven't looked into that, so forget that for the moment, okay? A society that hides behind charity donations, but whose members' true intention is to find business opportunities and maximise their profits. But we'll leave that for now, okay? So this was their main logo, but I say they got rid of it. Then they got the tortoise, which we'll talk about in a moment as well. Now, this glass here is interesting. So Prime Minister Tony Blair is here showing the glass off at the London School of Economics. Again, we'll get into that soon. Now, this went missing, this glass did, and then it turned up at Sotheby's in 2005. They don't know who stole it, but it turned up there and they bought it back. So here he is old Blair, unveiling the stained glass window of the Fabians. It was unveiled in the Shaw Library. This was at London School of Economics on the 20th of April 2006. In the photo, Tony Blair is showing unveiling. This was commissioned by George Bernard Shaw, who was a founding member of the Fabian Society. Shaw was a famous playwright and co-founded with Stanley James Webb. You think of the Webb telescope, the Fabian Society. He was also a socialist and a keen supporter of the Eugenics. Now, the Eugenics is a whole new rabbit hole that we will be going down in part 2, okay? But they were involved in that as well. A science described as the study of how to arrange reproduction within a human population to increase the occurrence of heritable characteristics regarded as desirable. Shaw described his frightening vision of a future society with these words. This is George Bernard Shaw's own words now, okay? Welcome, everybody. Excuse me for coming in. I'm not looking at the chat, but there you go. I will be after, but I just want to crack on with this, okay? Thank you to everybody who's watching after. So under socialism, people would not be allowed to be poor, okay? They would be force-fed, be clothed and provided with accommodation. They would be educated and provided with a job, whether they like it or not. If it turns out they do not have enough, if it turns out that if they do not have enough and industrious to deserve all of this, they will probably be gently eliminated. But if they were allowed to live, they should live well. And that is one of the founding members' own words. So we're going to go further down that in a different one, because I really do want to get into the basics of this horrible organisation that is everywhere now. It's all over the world, even in America. The image on the stained glass window at the London School of Economics is very meaningful, for it shows George Bernard Shaw and James Webb pounding a globe on which is written the motto, "Remold it nearer to the heart's desire." Depicted in the lower part of the pane are figures praying and worshipping a stack of books, all of which are likely to be on socialist doctrines. Honestly, this is awful. So it says remold there. Hang on. Rabbits are starting now with their noises. So they're literally, there's no sign of God or Jesus in there. AI, can you come and sort? I think Oscar's run out of water. I think he's drank it all. Can you come and refill it, please? I'll just message him. 47 watching. Please hit the like. Just message out. It's what's so difficult, because when you are AI, please check WhatsApp. Trying to stream and you've got all these things going on. Okay, so yeah, so the hammer in the globe here. This is just so messed up, right? And back in the late 1880 time, this country was still built on religion. This science and eugenics and praying to books was unheard of. And if they would have gone to the masses with this straight away, would you do his water, please? Thanks. They would have just been laughed at, which is why they have this motto, which we'll get into shortly, about slow and steady wins the race. The window inexplicably vanished, which is what I was just saying, and it reappeared at a Sotheby's sale in 2005. It's almost like they wanted to hide it. Then they snuck it back in with their unveiling of their Prime Minister, Tony Blair. Now, this is about the history and the creed. So a group of socialist intellectuals launched the Fabian Society on the January the 4th, 1884, following a rupture inside the Socialist Society, which we've spoken about, thank you, of the Social Society of New Life, which had only been established 3 months previously in London, which is what we just spoke about, the fellowship. The first members of the Socialist Society were the Victorian elite. So these weren't born from like the working class. These were born from basically champagne socialists, elitists that wanted to tell the working class how to live and what to do. So we've got the homosexual poet Edward Carpenter, the sexologist Havelock Ellis, the feminist Edith Lees, and the writer Edward R. Pease. We'll get more into these people in further episodes. On January the 25th, 1884, J.G. Stapleton became the first chairman of the Socialist Society, whilst the Society of the New Life went on to operate under the name the Fellowship for 15 further years. The objective of the Fabians is to bring socialism in an undercover way. Now, we're going to get into this right now, because they based their name and their ways on a Roman military leader. Okay, and I don't know, again, some of you may know this, but I want to start at the beginning, and that's where they named him from. Now, it derives, an undercover way derives from its name from that of the Roman military leader Quintus Fabius Maximus Verrucus, nickname the Procrastinator. Following the success of Carthaginian commander Hannibal at the Lake of Trasimene against the Romans in the year 2017, that's how far we're going back, so they lost basically, Fabius began an attrition strategy against the invaders by patiently applying the first guerrilla warfare ever recorded in the history of the West. And this is what they named him after. It entailed persistently attacking the enemies in skirmishes, sometimes advancing and occasionally retreating until the conditions for a complete and coordinated successful attack were in place. This is a methodology that the Society shows in another of its logos that depicts the slow-moving snail with the phrases, "When I strike hard." That's the tortoise. I don't know how it's supposed to be a snail, but there you go. When I strike hard. So these are the original ones, okay? And it's slow and steady. Now, the Fabian agenda. How are we all getting on in chat? Is everything okay? Are you all following, or just checking if everyone's okay? And do you want me to go over anything? Just let me know. Again, just when I finish this, just pop any questions in. And if you're watching on the replay, please timestamp any questions and I'll do my best to answer, okay? Thanks, Nikki, love. So, yeah, spot on, Mocha. The Bassist was published in 1887. The Society states, Fabianism feeds itself on capitalism. Right, so it eats in capitalism. Hi, Larry, thank you. And communism is its excrement. Unlike the Bolsheviks who seized power in Russia through a violent revolution, the Fabians believed they should achieve the same goal only by infiltrating their men into governmental and judicial institutions. Now think of today, look at all these judges, look at all these top police people. Think about this, right? They're all bent and we don't know why. And this is why. This is the Fabian way. I'm going to try and make this a bit bigger so you guys can read this as I'm going. That's too big. Trying to do it so you guys can read it, or you're okay with me just reading it out. Now, this is a technique that has worked wonders for criminal organisations as well. They also believe that the ultimate aim should be to centralise all private property in the hands of a global technocratic state that prioritises science above all else. Does that sound familiar? Follow the science. All about the science, not forget God. They want to remove God. They want to get rid of common law, which is God's law. They want to turn the churches into places that they're godless. The LGBTQ stuff, and I don't want to get into whether it's right or wrong because that isn't what this is about. But it in the Bible, it is a sin. So by the Church of England talking about all of this and the gay marriages and all this, it all stems from this society, and they didn't rush it. They did it slowly. They had 100-year plan. Okay, all of this stuff that's going on today is down to this. Is this why we're becoming? Yeah, they want to completely wipe out Christianity. Now, once they've done that goal, then they will focus on how to disband Islam. But Islam is a much easier way for them to get to their goal in the long term. It's an easier religion to control. You know, Muslims do as they're told. The women wear hijabs. They don't have to, but they're told to. Now, it's not even in the Quran. They don't have to wear them in the Quran. And a lot of Muslim countries, they don't have to. But here, they're more hard line. And they want to just wipe out all the churches. Once they've done that, then they can start to mould Islam over time how they want it. They have plans that go on for hundreds and hundreds of years. So all the things that are happening, it's all done by design. But their biggest achievement is to wipe out Christianity. Because when Christianity when the Romans invaded and they brought with them their version of Christianity, which was obviously after, because originally they were pagan as well. The Romans were pagan originally. When they brought in their Christianity, their Catholicism or whatever, their original Christianity, that was a bit like what's happening now. Everybody had to conform to it, and if you didn't, you were burnt. If pagans didn't do as they were told when the Romans came, you were burnt at the stake. You had to do it. And this is like the new wave of it. They want Islam to take over the entire Western world, because then they can just keep tweaking. They can infiltrate the leaders, the Islamic leaders. They can just look at Sadiq Khan. He's a Muslim. He would be very easy to sneak in there. He probably already is. He's involved in all the Islamic organisations in London. He goes to mosque and all that. What do you think he's doing? They think, he's one of us. He isn't. I think that a lot of the Muslims are actually aware of what's going on. I really do. And you speak to them, because that these people, these current elitists, this pandering, they don't care about the Muslim people, and they want to eradicate God. And Muslims, they're a monotheistic, I can't say the word, but they're a monotheistic religion. They have one God, just like we do. We have one God, just like Judaism. It's one God. Other religions believe in multiple gods, but we have one God, and it's the same. It's very similar in ways. I'm not saying we're identical, but we are three religions that are similar. So they can infiltrate Islam once they get that stronghold, and they can adjust it to how they want to until the whole world is doing what they're told to do. And it's all about science. They're obsessed with science. But if they actually say, now this is the thing now with Islam, for example, you've got the LGBTQ, which is dead against the Islamic way. They're worse than, they're much more hardline. They are dead against it. So what's happening now is that they're pushing that agenda on Muslim children, which is causing all these problems, because eventually the left does eat itself alive, but that's a totally separate thing. But you can see where I'm coming from with this, yeah? So George Bernard Shaw, who was a Freemason originally, joined the society in May 1884 and quickly rose to become one of its leaders. Years later, other Freemasons and significant figures followed Shaw's example, like G.B. Shaw, and you've got Bertrand Russell, Sidney James Webb, the husband of famed author Beatrix Potter Webb, joined in 1884. Yes, Beatrix Potter was a Fabian. I just need to get this drink. Hold on. Can of Coke before people start saying I'm drinking. Oh, shit. Okay. The boys have fell asleep for a bit now. Okay. Right, so hopefully all of this is making sense. All right. And to say, this is all about the beginnings of it and the basics of it, and then we're going to start to relate into what it is today, and then we're going to start going down some different rabbit holes in the future related to this. So Beatrix Potter was one of them, okay, which I found really sad when I found this out. The pedagogist, I don't know what that is, Graham Wallace in 1886 joined, as well as Edward Pease, Havelock Ellis, Frank Podmore, Annie Besant, John Galsworthy, R.H. Tawney, Israel Cohen, Israel Zangwill. There is quite a few Jews in there as well, and I'm not having a go at Jews, I'm just stating some facts. Harold Lasky, the Labour Party Prime Minister of the UK, Ramsay MacDonald, and more. Wouldn't it be interesting if that what was his name, who's part of the Labour Party backbenches, that Tom MacDonald, is it Tom MacDonald? I wonder if he's related to him. Anyone find this out for me, please? Excuse me, we have church bells here. They were going off this morning. I needed a live stream, but I was too tired. I was sat outside at 10 o'clock this morning with the dogs, and the church bells were going off, and I was like, the people would love this, because you can see people walking to church, you know, it's still here. For how long, I don't know. But anyway, I was too tired. Maybe next Sunday. Right. Now, Sidney James Webb established the London School of Business in 1895. So you think of the London School of Economics. Now, with the aid of the Freemason bankers Rothschild. So they're all involved. They're all intertwined back then. John MacDonald, that's it. Yeah. Do me a favour, Terry Knowles Band again. Just out of interest. It's a long shot, but you never know. See whether him, John MacDonald, was related to Ramsay MacDonald. Just have a look for me, please. Just out of interest. Wouldn't it be interesting if they were related? Okay, so the Rothschild bankers actually funded, and Julius Werner and Ernest Capel, they also are the ones that set up the journal, the New Statesman. Now, we all know what that is. That's still going today. The New Statesman is a Labour socialist publication. All right. Isn't it great, Furry? So the Rothschilds funded this London School of Business. He also set up at the New Statesman. All the patrons of this respected international school championed eugenics. Now, that's the New Statesman there, okay? That's from 2021, I think. Okay, so when you see the New Statesman, it's still going now. It is a full-on Fabian publication. Many of the current leaders of the field of politics and economics studied at the London School of Economics because it is the epicentre of Fabianism. So this business school that was originally funded by this, I'm not going deep into this at all. This is really spinning. This is just skimming over the beginnings of Fabianism on this article. We will be going deeper in the future, okay? But this is just skimming it over. So the London School of Economics was actually funded by the Rothschilds. Again, this isn't, you know, conspiracy. These are all things that happened. Now, many of the current leaders in the field of politics studied at the London School of Economics because of its Fabianism. Now, the reason why they did that, the reason why they did the London School of Economics, because they wanted to go against the traditional universities like Oxford and Cambridge. Now, they knew that their people weren't brainy enough to get in there, so they created their own, but they've since infiltrated them as well. Now, among them, for example, listen to this. Okay, so these are people that have studied at the London School of Economics. That is Fabianism. Okay, the Italian former Prime Minister Romano Prodi, Vincenzo D'Alema, the current Health Minister. This is in Italy, Spesanza. Do you remember how left Italy went before they got their new right-wing Prime Minister? Was it last year or the year before? I forgot what her name is, but she's a right-winger. And the president of the EU Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, the president of China, Tsai Ing-wen, and the billionaire George Soros, they all studied at the London School of Economics because it is the epicenter of Fabianism. It's crazy, you know. You guys, how are you finding this? Are you finding it interesting? Are you finding it boring? Are you starting to see the pattern emerging of what I'm talking about? How this is so important. And I've been harping on about this for years. And all of a sudden, the mainstream media are catching up. And again, I just think to myself, were you just not doing your job as journalists? Or were you not allowed to talk about it? I feel like there is something happening in this country. This Fabianism is everywhere. It is literally in all your institutions, in your NHS, all of this wokeism. It is Fabianism, okay? And I feel like this little things are starting to lift. Now, for example, the Sun, do you remember me saying this a few years ago, and the last time I covered this? I said, do you imagine if the news started talking about Fabianism and their policies and where they come from and who are Fabians now, like Keir Starmer and Sadiq Khan and all these people. And I actually said, can you imagine if they started talking about this on the mainstream media? But they won't. But now they are. Now they are. It's like they've been given permission to start talking about this. Yeah. But Alex Phillips, I do like her. From Talk TV, she's done a massive piece on this, and it's got nearly 300,000 views. And there's so many people in the comments. I haven't watched it, but I looked at the comments saying, I didn't know about this. It is depressing, Jenna. But then, do you know what? It was more depressing when I was talking about this I've done 2 or 3 shows on this now over the years, and nobody knew about it. But now at least people are waking up to it. But then again, the problem is with this is that they're now hiding everything. They're panicking. They're putting out these fact checkers on it and all that, and they're trying to literally wipe the internet. But it's too late. I've already got my notes from last time. The journalists. We are the journalists now. Us, the normal people. Okay, so the EU commissioner is studied there. So these people, even George Soros, they learnt their ways at the London School of Economics. So we're going to go on now. It gets more depressing because already Beatrix Potter was one. The established novelist H.G. Wells, author of War of the World, an alleged spy, now there's many rumours that he was a spy, accepted the invitation to enter the society in 1903. According to the magazine The American Mason, he was a Freemason a status at the Grand Lodge of Minnesota has since confirmed. So he was a Freemason, and he went in to be a Fabian. Penny Bunny News at 10. Wells also wrote the novel The New World Order, published in 1940, in which he mentions the installation. Can you see how they wrote it in books? George Orwell was one as well, okay? He was one as well. He was trying, he left, and we'll get into that more, but he was one. Now, George Orwell wrote The New World Order, published in 1940, in which he mentions the installation of a socialist world government based on science and technology. Remember, trust the science. It's all here. It's all here. I hope people are finding this interesting. Now, he intended to change the name of the Fabian Society into the British Socialist Society. So H.G. Wells wanted to change it, but the idea was rejected, and he left in 1908, when the society also declined his proposal to campaign for a full-time remunerated parenthood. I don't know what that means. What is a remunerated parenthood when it's at home? Anybody know? Because I don't. Hang on, let me just Google this. Because this article here, it skims over, which is why it's perfect for us on the first go, because I just want to... I'm just Googling this. Hang on. Is it something to do with the state taking over parenting or something? Room unaided parenthood. Never heard of this before. Go. Right, okay. So this is basically what's happening now. Parents receive payments for raising children, a concept debated in terms of paid parental leave. So we've got it anyway. Welfare, the sale, what's that? While a motherhood penalty exists, leading to lower lifetime. Hang on, forget that. So basically, it means that you get paid to have babies, which is what's happening now. But they didn't like this. They didn't like this because they didn't want the mother at home. They wanted to do this. Yeah, I should have got it there because remunerated is money. Parent, yeah, okay. So he wanted to do that. He came in, he wanted to change it. He wanted to tell people that they were socialists, because at the moment, Fabian Society doesn't tell you from the name what they are. And he left. It looks to me like he wrote that book as a warning. He's another one that joined and left, see? He left in 1908 and he wrote the book in 1940. So I think he was writing us a warning. For H.G. Wells, eugenics was the only way to secure that. So he was for the... See, I needed a refresher in this. He was for the eugenics. Listen to this. This was massive in those days, and it was all brought forward by the Fabians. When you hear about eugenics, the actual word was invented by them. The offspring of the less thrifty, less intellectual, less far-seeing races, the unskilled casual labourers of our great cities, the races from Eastern or Southern Europe, the Negroes, I'm quoting, the Chinese, did not overwhelm the British welfare system, is what he's saying here. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Oh, he had to... Oh, right. Eugenics was to stop this. Right. So basically, they wanted to breed certain types of people that could do certain things. And there was also talk of negative eugenics, where you purposely bred dummies. That's where it gets even more murky. So they wanted to bring in eugenics to stop this from happening, to stop foreigners from coming in and overthrowing the welfare system. Guys, if you want to join the membership, you can. Let me know if you need the link. It does really help, and you can win a voucher. So from 1919 to 1937, William Beveridge was director of the London School of Economics with the board backing of the Fabians. So they may say, oh, this is an independent... What was that? They may say this is an independent university, but it's not. They're always there in the background. You all right? What was that? Daddy dropped something, George. He was a liberal politician. So he was in charge of this London School of Economics. He was the liberal politician who we can regard as the founder of the UK's welfare state. He was also a member of the Eugenics Society, which enlisted middle-class professionals, doctors, scientists and writers, as well as the politician and Freemason Winston Churchill and the birth control advocate Mary Stopes, among others. They were all in there. They were all involved. Winston Churchill was in there. He was a member of the Eugenics Society and birth control advocate. Now, we think of birth control now like it's great, but then when you think about it in the bigger picture, it's not, is it? Because they want to stop us from having babies. So, like Africa and so on, they don't have birth control. Islamic countries don't have birth control. Anywhere that is ruled by God, they worship God. For example, in Ireland, they are very heavily Catholic. They don't believe in birth control. Birth control is literally against God, really, but it's been brought into the mainstream, and we didn't even notice. It's just normal now. It's totally normal for us to do that, and they were always trying to get rid of this, Terry Knowles, by bringing in the birth control. But what they wanted to do was use eugenics to control the new people coming in. So when they wanted to flood us with migrants, they wanted to breed out any of their, they wanted to get rid of them being thick and being, not able to do certain jobs by using eugenics to breed them out. Maybe they're still maybe that's their plan. Remember, these people don't work on a day-to-day basis. They don't work on a year. They work on 50 or 100 years down the line. Honestly, we're going to have to cover cloning at some point because they're probably involved in that as well. Now, it's funny you mentioned the royal family because I found out something very interesting, and I'll mention it after I finish this article. The eugenics believed that heredity was predominant, and therefore that health and welfare measures based on environment interventions against mortality and morbidity would merely encourage the proliferation of the unfit. So you remember back then there wasn't a welfare state, right? That hadn't come in yet. But they wanted to do one, but they didn't want new people coming in from different countries and what they call the disabled and the thickos from using it. They wanted to get rid of them. Beveridge had once stated that we should deprive disabled males, listen to this, of all citizen rights. Again, this is another Fabian, including civil liberty and fatherhood. So disabled males should not be able to have children. Yet today, they describe him as a gentle, friendly man. He argued in 1909 that those men who, through general defects, are unable to fulfill such a whole place in industry, they wanted slaves, are to be recognised as unemployable. They must become acknowledged dependents of the state, but with complete and permanent loss of all citizen rights, including not only the franchise but civil freedom and fatherhood. So they wanted any men, any indigenous males that were disabled, in any way, to, you see, they bought in the welfare state. This is all a Fabian idea. all this nonsense about this universal credit as well that was brought in by David Cameron. This is all that. Because now you've got people who work and who don't work on the same benefits, just get a different amounts. So they don't want people. They want people who are disabled and the same men to basically not have to work, be supported by the state, but all of their rights go. So they're not allowed to reproduce, and they're not allowed citizen rights. So things like voting and so on, including not only the franchise, but civil freedom. So you were basically just left at home to rot, but you were given food enough to survive. Cameron was in on it as well. The Fabians considered the Liberals. Now listen to this, because they originally went on. They wanted the Tories as well. They wanted George is barking. What's the matter, George? What's the matter, G-Dog? Is it a pussycat? George! Daddy! What are you doing? Hang on, what's he doing? George, stop it. So they wanted to get into the Conservatives as well. They originally, Angela Rayner's a Fabian, by the way. This is what I mean. You know, it's embedded throughout. So they wanted to go for the left and the right. I mentioned this earlier on, but the Conservatives backed them for a short time. They considered to be better receptive to their ideas than the Conservatives. And for a while they backed them. But when they realised the Liberal Party did not wish to bring in social reforms, because like I say, oh, thank you, Anne. That's really kind. Thank you, darling. Let's read your comment out. Catch the rest later. Have a good one, Penny, and chat for the. Oh, thank you. Oh, I treat the boys. Thank you, darling. How kind. Thank you, sweetheart. And thanks for being a member as well, love. Lots of love to Sophie. Yeah, this will be left up, folks. Okay. So back then, before the Labour Party, you had your Liberals and you had your Conservatives, right? Now, the Conservatives weren't that interested in them, but they backed them for a little bit. Now, the Liberals didn't want to bring in the social reforms that they wanted. The Liberals were just regular people. Hi, Sweet Freedom. I'm going to read out Freet Sweden's comment as well. Freet Sweden says, evening Penny and all, was lying down, listening from the beginning, had to get up to comment. Wow, this is brilliant coverage. I feel sick, far worse than I thought. I'm sorry, guys. I know it is difficult, but we've got to get this out there, darling. We've got to get this out there. And this is the third or fourth time I've done this now. But this time I'm going to be going deeper in part 2. All right. But yeah, I'm sorry. You know, I should give a warning, really, shouldn't I? And the Guardian never used to be that bad either. The Guardian were bad, but they weren't nothing like this. Yeah, Conservatives are leftists. They are. They're full-blown leftists. They're further left than what Joe Biden was, for example. But thank you, Anne. Thank you. It's really kind of you, darling. Yeah, it's a difficult one, guys. It's a hard one to digest. I'm going to continue. Okay, how long have I been going now? Just over an hour. Time flies, eh? But yeah, big up to Anne. Thank you, love. So the Liberals at the time, they weren't interested in all this stuff. They just wanted better rights for workers, you know. That's what they wanted. The Conservatives back then were conservative. They were mostly Freemasons, but they were conservative because back then, none of this woke nonsense was around, remember. You know, you wanted normal, regular people needed a party to stand up for them, to give them rights, because you know you were sent down the mines as a child. Remember, this is a different time, so people were welcoming of this new party that said that they would help them, give them the welfare state, it was all bought in by them. The NHS, it was all bought in by the Labour Party, remember? Now, when they realised when the Liberals realised what the Fabians were up to, they severed ties. And in 1891, the Fabians founded the Labour Party in 1906, which embraced all of the Fabian Society's core concepts later that year. Think about the Liberal Democrats. They're actually not as far left as the Labour Party, because we think of the Liberals as further gone. They're not. Now, possibly they have infiltrated. But for example, if you look at Ed Davey, right, and I'm not a fan, he is actually a Christian, believe it or not. He goes to church, he's a Christian. He's a lefty, he's a liberal, but he's not a Fabian because he goes to church. These people, they don't do religion. They don't do God. They're science-based. So, the Liberal Democrats are embedded with these people as well, but the Labour Party are the Fabians. Now, Bertrand Russell, father of India, Nathaniel Nehru, father of India's first Prime Minister, the British Prime Ministers Ramsay MacDonald and Harold Wilson, the economist Maynard Keynes were all among the Society's 8,400 members, which was a lot in them days, in 1946. Indeed, Fabians made up the bulk of the Labour Party. Conclusions. Though the actual name of the author of the world-renowned novel 1984 was not George Orwell, but Eric Arthur Blair, which is what I spoke about earlier. He was a member of the Fabian Society, just like that of Tony Blair, who became the Labour Prime Minister of the UK 28 years later. So Eric Arthur Blair, George Orwell was his writer name, was a member, okay? Now, Orwell wrote the books Animal Farm and 1984 when he fell out with the Society. With 1984, this is what I've been saying for years now, he wished to warn the world exactly 100 years after the launch of the Fabian Society of its covert plan to institute a future world government. They had a 100-year plan that would scrutinise over every minute of every citizen's life and withdraw all of his rights and liberties. Which is why when people say 1984, it's happening now, this is what he was warning us about, because he joined them. He got involved in them, seeing what they were, and then left and wrote the book. Hi, Peter. There he is there. And that's that H.G. Wells. So they both joined and they both left. So following G.B. Shaw's manifest of the Fabian Society in 1884, that was his original manifesto, the base, they thought by 1984 we'd be done. Yeah, it took them a little bit longer because there was a little few things there were a couple of world wars in there. Then we had other things happening. We had the swinging 60s and all that stuff. So their 100-year plan, there was a few little things that knocked them out a little bit, but they got there in the end. And this is where we are right now. Okay. Join your previous live on this before, which was good. This is brilliant exposure. Yeah, I'm just touching the beginning as well, Sweet Freedom, but I appreciate you commenting. I'm glad you're enjoying it as well. So the original manifesto in 1884 came the basis in 1887, which delineates how to reconstruct humanity. And it is essentially the policy of the Great Reset, whereby All private property would be reproposed by the state for general good and usage. They want to get rid of the family farmers. Think about it. They don't want us to have food security by farmers. They want to own everything. Just like in America, Bill Gates is buying up all the land because he wants to control the food security. They don't want farmers. The family farm tax it's not done by accident. And when you get the farmers saying, but they won't meet with us, they won't discuss it with us. Of course they won't, because people think that they're stupid. They think that these people are stupid. Maybe so. Keir Starmer, Rachel Thieves, Angela Raver. Yeah, they're all stupid, but they're just puppets. There's people behind them that are the Fabians that are pushing these policies. They want all of these family farms to sell up, and they'll have big businesses come in, swoop in, and they'll own everything. It's not even like socialism used to be, where the government owned it. It's now big business. It's now corporations. It's now people with money. They'll come in, they'll buy all the farms, and they'll control the food. Then they can start putting any chemicals they want in it as well. This is what they're doing. So when people say they're stupid, they don't get it, they do. Bless you. They do get it. That's the worrying thing. So they said no one would own anything or be hindered by debt. So everyone will be debt free. You will own nothing, remember, and you will be happy. Remember who said that? And everybody would receive from the state enough to live on, subject to good behaviour. Who took this? China. And their leader went to the London School of Economics. That is the epicenter of Fabianism. Now, China, where do you think they got all their ideas from? Remember the Chinese Revolution? Was it 69? Someone may correct me on that. The Chinese Revolution, where one day they were all free, and the next minute their guards came in and told them what to think about, what they could talk about, what to wear, and they came in. It's all Fabianism. So all of this would have to be achieved without violence, remember. They don't want any violence. They don't want anyone to know. But by relying solely on the work of those who the society has infiltrated into the institution. So again, we're talking about the Fabius Maximus way, the slow and steady, having little goes and then retreating, just seeing how far things can go. This is all how they do things. And remember when I say to you, they have to tell you it's there in plain sight. It is there in plain sight, but nobody's been talking about it until now, apart from us and a UK column. I think they've covered it as well. I know they've covered it this year. I don't think they've covered it in the past. Now, the Fabian Society, but also popular pseudo. Now, I haven't looked into these, right? Maybe that's one for us to do as well. But also popular pseudo charity or organisations like the Rotary Club. We've all got them local to us. Actually, have we? I think we've got the Lions. I know that we have a Masonic Lodge here, and they do a lot of stuff. Like I seen a poster the other day. I was walking along in Walking George. I seen a poster for Slimming World at the Masonic Temple in town. It's crazy, isn't it? Yeah, you don't know who to trust anymore, Jenna, do you? I think they're all Freemasons, to be honest. But again, not all Masons are baddies. You've got Freemasonry and you've got Masonry. And then you've got, it's not as simple as all Freemasons are baddies. There's a lot of Freemasons who are, Masons in England, who just do a lot of charity stuff. I've heard about that, Furry, yeah. Something to look into. There's so much to look into, isn't there? So this Rotary Club and the Lions Club are dissimilar from Freemasonry. Their ideologies are... Oh, thank you, Willie. Hang on, let me just read this comment out. Thank you, mate. $5 from Willie. You're the best, Penny. I love how you report stories, dropping some love always around. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that, mate. I really do. Sub up if you want to go over to Willie. He does stream a lot. I do pop in. I don't always comment. He just streams from Arizona, the desert. So if you're interested in that, pop over. But thank you so much to our super duper chatters tonight. It really does help. Really does. Right. Okay. So now the Masonic doctrine of a universal brotherhood. This is the Masons now. Is based on the principles of libet. I can't read all that. Fraternity and elite, I think, elite, and will never adopt a autocratic socialism enforced by a few individuals picked from an elite of the fittest and the smartest. Yeah, so what they're saying is that no matter how much you hate the Freemasons or the Masons or whatever, the real Masons, the ones that, you know, the actual Masons here. Why hasn't Willie got a spanner? Oh, weird. Something weird's going on. They don't realize what's going on. And the thing is as well, now the Masons hate them. So that the Rothschilds, the Freemasons who funded the London School of Economics, yeah, they're not real. They're like the Freemasons aren't just one unit. You've got the Masons. You've got different little groups splintering off from them. And the Rothschilds, they're not part of the traditional Mason group. They don't care about charity. They don't care about helping people. All they care about, yeah, they hate communism. AI is spot on. They absolutely detest communism. They're capitalists, what they are. And founded America. They're capitalists. They're not communists. They will never, ever join the communists. So the ones that did go over are not good. At this point, I would love to show you examples of Freemasonry, notably the two most powerful obedience in the world, the French and the English, speaking out in defence of those values during the months of health tyranny. This is when the plague was going on. But alas, they have offered but a dastard silence that smacks of a collaboration with the New World Order design. So basically, they're saying that even the Freemasons, they want to show that they, you know, they're speaking out, but they're not either. They weren't speaking out. Now, Trump is a Freemason, as far as I'm aware. Our royals are Freemasons as well. It says here, Freemasonry membership does not prevent enrolment into the Fabian Society or come to that any other elitist society that scorns the masses. We know, for instance, that Besant, 46 to 33, had a liaison with GB Shaw and joined the Fabian Society. AI's comments just gone out the window, by the way. And joined the Fabian Society. I think it's all about greed, you know. It's all about human nature and what you will do to get where you want to go, basically. She's a good example of a Fabian Freemason, for she formed in 1930 the first mixed-sex Masonic Grand Lodge in England, called the Joint Humane. She also served as president of the Esoteric Theatre. I don't know what that is, but maybe that's something to look into in the future, folks. Interesting that. What's this here? For the elite, unless properly regulated, the masses are unsafe to govern because they are intellectually inferior and thus incapable of managing themselves in a manner that serves the community and, most importantly, the upper classes' interests. I'm certain you're thinking how socialism, which wants to defend the world community's weakest members, can coexist in a society whose members are motivated by eugenics. So basically, socialism as it is can be a good thing. Again, people say we're a capitalist country. We're not. We're not a capitalist country. We have a welfare state. That is socialism. The UK has got a mixture of both. We've got the worst of both, really, because our NHS is atrocious. And then we have the markets control, the free markets, the housing market and so on, the retail price index. They all control our money. So we've got these blackjack. We've got these two sides in the UK, and we're literally in dystopian hell, really, aren't we? I'm not being horrible, but it does seem that way. Socialism should be helping, defending the world's community's weakest members. Yeah. How can it work with people who want eugenics? And it should be impossible, but for I can't read that. I don't know what that word says. Escamotage that perceives eugenics as a tool for an even better socialism. It's like there's always something better for these people. They can't just have something. They then got to go and get something better. They're never happy, are they? So it says here, to put it another way, capturing command of people's lives and determining who should be born and lead either an elitist existence or that of a slave or die is simply the purest form of socialism. Gordon Brown, this was written before Keir Carr's got in. Gordon Brown, the last Labour Prime Minister of the UK, has written various articles for the Fabian Society's journal, The New Statesman. And recently he has stated in one paper that the plague pandemic has provided an excellent opportunity for the fulfillment of the Fabian's dream of a world state. Do you remember when all this first kicked off and Boris said, we're going to go for herd immunity? Do you remember? And just wash your hands and all this rubbish, like sing happy birthday while you're washing your hands. And then they said he had COVID, do you remember? And he disappeared for 2 weeks, and then you had Priti Patel took over for a short time, and he came back different, didn't he? Something happened then, and I still don't know. Whether they threatened him, whether they cloned him, because I do believe that cloning exists. I know people can laugh, but I don't really care. There's something went on there, because he came around to the Fabians' ways. So, because what we observe is happening. This is what Gordon Brown said. What we observe is happening in the world now is something that was planned long ago, applied with intervals in between, so not to heighten distrust, and made to erupt now thanks to the convenient conditions of a supposed pandemic. Do you see? It was of the Fabian Society have impregnated the fabric of our civilization, political parties included. Science is the modern dogma all around the world because science knows no political barriers, of course. The Fabians also believe that politicians should be supplanted with experts. Remember the experts? Nobody voted for the experts. And yet they were the ones who were deciding whether we are able to go outside or not during this so-called pandemic, which we know, guys. We know, okay? We know. We can't talk about it. But there's actually more deaths now than there was then. Just saying. Every day. Yesterday before a 20-year-old dropped dead. All over. I've never, ever, ever known anything like this. We lost our lovely Bev. She'd had 3, I think. So our lovely Bev died suddenly. We should never forget Bev. Bev Law. She was amazing. She was such a good friend to me. She helped me through a lot when I first got Gizmo. She even told me like what harnesses to get and stuff, because I'd never had a dog as an adult. and we used to talk all the time, and I miss her so much. And she had them, and she left away 2 kids. She left 2 kids, you know. Let's never forget Bevelar. So the Fabians also believed, they believe that politicians should be supplanted with experts. I use that term loosely. This would explain the rise to popularity both in the press and on TV of the many virologists. This was written around that time. Both in the press and on television, of the many virologists. And just today I've done a video on Penny for Your Thoughts about one that's just popped up again. Patrick Vallance has popped up in the government now. Isn't it funny how he was in the Conservatives, and now he's now Minister for Energy Security and Net Zero. Patrick Vallance. If you haven't seen my video, it's on Penny for Your Thoughts. I put it out this morning. So many virologists and scientists to whom politicians appears to have handed over authority, and nobody voted for them. The current absence of the left-right divide in politics when dealing with the plague are all down to this. What did I say? The whole thing that the left never ever questioned any of the Conservatives' policies. They wanted more. That I've been saying for years and years before the plague, that there's no such thing as the left and right anymore. And this is what, I know it's hard, but this is what is happening with the Reform Party and Corbyn's party. Corbyn's party is further left than the Labour Party is now. And the Reform Party is further to the right, but not far right, because it doesn't take much to be right at the Conservative Party. And they are bringing back the old left-right politics. And this is what I've been saying for years and years and years, that Labour need to get in. And Al used to freak out when he used to say it. I says, Labour need to get in for the people to see how bad it is. Because while the Conservatives are in, they keep glossing it over and thinking, oh, well, it can't be as bad as Labour. Yeah. When Labour gets in, people seem to start going, hang on a minute, this is bad. And they're just going to get worse. And this is when people have started to rise up. People don't realise all of this was happening under the Tories. All of these hotels were opened under the Tories. The Labour have just made it worse. But people never said anything. I don't know why. Under the Conservatives, we had to get a Labour government in for people to actually start to see what was going on. But the problem is that our institutions, from the judges, the courts, the police, the government, the NHS, Whitehall, they are all infiltrated by these Fabians. And when Reform get in, which I pray they do, and they need to not have any Fabians in there. I don't know if they have. I will be looking, trust me. Then they've got to go and wipe things out, because all the judges and everything, they're all part of it. So what I'm going to do next time, because this was just an overview, because I could be here all day, and I've been on for an hour and a half, so I want to end it there. I've just touched on it, folks. I have literally touched on this. Further, next time we'll be talking about eugenics and how it was all founded by these lot. They wanted, some of the things that I've read are just shocking. They are absolutely shocking. The thing is, though, people have gone at the Tories for 14 years, but they had the Lib Dems with them for the first 3, didn't they? It's a shame they've got Nadine Dorries, though she has gone to the right since. But she was one who helped implement the online safety bill, but she wasn't the one that wrote it. Well, this is what they need to do, and people need to just give them a chance. Okay, people need to give them a chance. I'm not saying they're perfect, but bloody hell, it's. And the thing is, they need to take mainstream politicians from the Conservative Party, and they've taken some from the Labour Party, to ever be in government. You know, this isn't going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen overnight. And there are still some good people on the backbenches of the Tories and the Labour Party who aren't involved in these. So what we're going to do next time, honestly, that was just scraping at the beginning, that was. I haven't even covered the tortoise properly. Let me just show you the tortoise. Hold on. I haven't covered Beatrix Potter hardly at all. The eugenics we're going to be covering next time. They got rid of the tortoise and we weren't supposed to know about it, but their copyright ran out. The copyright ran out, folks. So it got exposed. But just before we go, say there's so much, guys, I want to talk about in this. Do you know what? We're going to be even going through Wiki, because Wiki has got a lot. A hell of a lot. Right, let me just get rid of this a sec. So the logo of the tortoise represents the groups. Hang on. Hold on. Oh, my tummy's rumbling now. I've not eaten nothing today. And we haven't even looked, well, we have looked into the window, but not enough. I don't know how much Alex Phillips covered AI. Could I have a cup of tea, please? I don't. Yeah, they did. They did. And I found a link between Hitler, yeah, and the Fabians. That's what I'm saying. Okay. How much did she actually cover? Alex Phillips. I didn't watch it. Did she cover much of this? Did she cover as much as what I've covered? I don't even know what she's, you know. Right, so this tortoise, its copyright has apparently run out or something. So we're labelled this. So Fabian tortoise crop image. The tortoise is a symbol of the Fabians, representing its goal of gradual expansion of socialism. This image is in the public domain in the United States as its copyright has expired. Lol. So they couldn't even show this before, which I find quite interesting. So they had a wolf in sheep's clothing that they got rid of. They got rid of it because they said it had a negative, people didn't like it. What else? Hang on. I also do like this article here. It's called Fabian's Facts for Kids. I like this because it's good to get into there to see what they're saying to our children. Remember, this has been in schools and everything. All the green agenda, where do you think that came from? All of this nonsense net zero. Yeah, I know that people have been going on about it. Yeah, Darwin's cousin as well. There's loads. There's loads. This is what I'm saying, right? I haven't even properly touched the surface. This is what they're teaching our kids. They're teaching our kids about the Fabians. Quick facts for kids. It's proper depressing. It is proper depressing. Look at this. This is what they said. This is what they're teaching our kids about the Fabian Society: to promote greater equality of power, wealth and opportunity. No, they're not. To value collective action and public service, an accountable, tolerant and active democracy, citizenship, liberty and human rights, sustainable development and multilateral international cooperation. Does that sound like what I've just been talking about for the past hour and a half? This is what they are teaching our children. They even tell the children this means they want to improve society through slow, steady changes within a democracy rather than through sudden revolutions. They have greatly influenced British politics. I still, when you look at this, like the Indian Prime Minister, the Chinese leader, they all went there. Look at this. It's connected to the Labour Party. Similar groups exist in Australia, Canada, New Zealand and Italy. But this is what they're teaching the children. I haven't even started on these blue plaques yet. The blue plaque marks where the Fabian Society began. Okay, so this is like Fabianism for dummies now. But well, that's what it is. But they're giving it to children, and they're teaching them about this Quintus Fabius Maximus Verrucus, this who actually won this war, and how he did it, and he it's like guerrilla warfare. It's seen as an early form of guerrilla warfare, right? AI George is at the door. This is actually really interesting. Just quickly before we go, AI George is at the door and I can't do anything. He was calm. He had a strong mind. This guy. He was an official who interpreted signs from the gods. It is not known if he fought in the First Punic War in this is the Roman Empire, and he began dictating during the Second Punic War. And when they lost, they decided they lost to this Hannibal's ability. They lost to this military skill. AI, can you come here, please? Hang on, George is at the door. I was just about to end them, but I just wanted to touch on this. He needs a wee. There's not much I can do at this precise moment, George. Okay, even if I turn it off right now, I've got to get the laptop off my lap. AI, please take George out for a wee. So, thank you. He refused to fight Hannibal in a big direct battle. Instead, he uses his troops. His goal was to wear Hannibal down in a long war. Okay, so this is who they based their thing on. He also used the scorch earth tactic. This meant destroying crops and resources in areas that Hannibal, who was his enemy, might pass through. This prevented Hannibal's army from getting food and supplies. Does this sound familiar, folks? Does this sound familiar to you guys? At first, the Romans did not like this defensive plan at all, They even called Fabius Contactor the delayer as an insult. Was he delaying everything, taking too long? The strategy was also difficult because Fabius' second in command, Minicus, disagreed with him. So this is there, and they're telling the children this, guys. They're telling the kids all about this. His second in command called Fabius a coward for not fighting Hannibal near a town called Geronium. Hannibal had set up camp. Minicus decided to launch a big attack. It looked like the Romans were winning, but Hannibal set a trap. Soon the Roman soldiers had been badly defeated. So then next time they listened to Fabius. And Fabius used his delaying tactics. Once criticised, became respected. It is said that Hannibal recognised and feared the Fabian strategy. After Fabius recaptured the city of Tarentum in 209 BC, Hannibal reportedly said, "It seems that the Romans have found another Hannibal. We have lost Tarentum in the same way that we took it." So there you go. The Fabians are proud to use this guy as their everything about them is this guy here. He became a legendary figure. Now, look at this, guys. Now, this is interesting. Like famous generals like George Washington have been called the American Fabius and the Russian Fabius, this guy, for using similar delaying tactics. Interesting. Very interesting. So this is what they're teaching our children, all about the Fabian Society. Teaching our kids this shit. I think it's absolutely shocking and disgusting what is going on. But we all we can keep doing is shining a light. What else can we do? What else can we do, folks? Anyway, there's lots. There's lots and lots and lots and lots and lots more to come in. You know, I do want to talk. I want to go down deeper lines. Oh, before I forget, for those of you that are still here, there's one more thing I found out today. Do you want to know it? Let me know if you want to know this last thing before we go. Let me just see if I can find it now. Where's it gone now? Oh, God. Don't understand why I can't find things when I need them. But then when I don't need them, they just appear. Hang on. Because this is another really strange thing. Hold on. Well, not strange, actually. Just bear with me a sec. Guys, if you haven't hit the like, please, please, it really does help the stream. It helps the channel. It gets the words out there. Please hit the like, guys, because, you know, this stuff does really, really help me. Right. Here it is here. Is this it? Okay. Now, did you not go for a wee-wee? Did you not have a wee-wee? Hey, did you have a wee-wee? I just need to know if I've got to go and walk him now. I'm finishing now anyway.
Well, it's starting to rain, so you have to wait.
Oh, okay. Can you put kettle on, please? Right, look at this, folks. I found this out today. And remember, Beatrix Potter was one of the founding members. Look at this. Here we go. I'm going to get it up now. Beatrix Potter was one of the founding members of the Fabians. And guess who it's turned out is related to Beatrix Potter? The Duchess of Cambridge, Kate Middleton even, is distantly related to Beatrix Potter. Kate's great uncle was Dr. Arthur Lupton, the Leeds University Pro-Chancellor, whose brother-in-law was Lord Ashton, who was the first cousin of Beatrix Potter. The connection is furthered by the fact that Rupert Potter, Beatrix's father, was taught at Manchester College by Dr. James Martineau, Kate's ancestor, who was also... So, hang on a minute. Her father's a teacher was taught by another ancestor. This is getting really weird. Who was also well acquainted with Queen Victoria. It is therefore unsurprising the Duchess of Cambridge made Peter Rabbit the theme to celebrate Prince George's first birthday. In addition to this, art historian Michael Reed states that Beatrix had given the Middleton family a number of her own drawings, including 4 of Kate's blood cousins, sisters Eleanor and Elizabeth, who were the daughters of Dr. Lupton. So there you go. Now the Fabians have managed to get themselves into the royals. Excrement is communism. Now you can see everything is happening straight out of the Fabian playbook. Spot on. Spot on. So Kate Middleton is a relative of Beatrix Potter. That is how they have infiltrated the royal family. Hi Sean, how you doing? Now some of you may say, oh, this is just pointless stuff. You don't need to know about it. It's in the past. It's not. It is now. What we're going to do next time, we're going to get a list of all of the members. I'm going to look for as many as I can. We're going to have a look for all of the members that are... Well, yeah. Why do you think one of them's called Beatrice? Do you need a poo-poo, George? Duddy. Right, I'm going to go for Wednesday, but I've just had a text off, well, a WhatsApp off my friend. We might be going out on Wednesday. It's going to be Wednesday or Thursday night. If I can't do Wednesday, I should be able to do Thursday's probably out. No, be Wednesday or Thursday. I might do Tuesday because that gives us a night off, doesn't it? So we have a night off tomorrow, and then we could go for it. Now tonight is usually Curious News night, but I wanted to do this because I know a lot of you wanted to see this. So we've got 44 likes, guys. If you haven't hit the like, please, it really does help. Like the stream and join the membership as well. And thank you to our super duper chatters. I'm just going to pop the link in now. Guys, would you like me to do more on this? Let me know now. I'm not going to do a poll because I've got to mess around changing my screens and everything. I can't do it on my phone. But this is the membership. Helps the channel, it really does. How's the tiny? Oh yeah. Thank you, Wendy. I appreciate that, darling. Interesting as always, guys. If you haven't seen, right. If you want me to carry on, I just want to know first of all. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I really do. Oh, thank you, Bridget. You're okay, darling. Anyway, I've missed you. You move far. Yeah, okay. Hi, Yvonne. Yeah, okay. We're going to keep going. Yeah, Sean says yeah. Okay, so for those of you that missed the update on Penny, this is the update. People say I buy subscribers, by the way. Just saying. Look at this. It won't let me go down for some reason. But if you look down here, okay, if you look down there, you will see how many views are on that channel. Nearly 78 million. Just saying. Look, guys, 7 hours ago, I've just heard back from the hedgehog lady. Diane passed last night. We did everything we could, but Diane gave up the fight. Run free at the bridge. Sweet girl is what I posted. Okay. She passed away, guys. People were saying don't give up on her. We wasn't going to give up on her. Okay. We wasn't going to give up on her. But if she wasn't eating and she was suffering, then obviously the decision would have to be made, but it was taken out of our hands anyway. God made the decision, not us. There's the text where people say that I make stuff up as well. That's the text I got through at 2:37 today. I couldn't put the woman's name in because the freaks will find her. So sad news, I'm afraid. Diane died in the night. And that was my reply. Okay. That's the night I got her. She's not dead there. I haven't seen her since. I dropped her off. She just gave up. I've been crying my eyes out today. So I didn't mention it at the beginning because I knew that if I would have started talking about it, I couldn't have done the stream. Thanks, everyone. We tried. No, she was a baby. She was only a few weeks old. Thanks, Diane. Diane, are you new to the stream? She had over 50 ticks removed. She was riddled with ringworm, and I mean riddled everywhere. Never seen nothing like it. The lady hadn't. She had hookworm, which are horrible things. They hook into the guts. She had lungworm. Thanks, Mocha. She was a few weeks old. Jacob, when I went to see him, but he was asleep when I went, obviously, because I went in the day. Jacob is still with us. He's still got his hookworm and his lungworm, but he is being treated. It can take weeks and weeks to get rid of it. He is eating. He's put weight on. Little Jacob is. Haven't you, Diane? Where did you find about? Just interesting, because it's always good to get new people in. So thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. Just out of interest, where did you find us, love? But yeah, so Jacob, who was the other one, we took him in, Jack named Jacob, about 3 weeks ago. He was 150 gram when we bought him, and he's now 350 gram. Well, I put Damascus earth in their food. They won't eat it with clove. They won't touch it. I don't need to. The ones that we found were not found in our garden. When we feed our hedgehogs, we put something called, Al can say, I can't, I call it Damascus earth. It's just a tasteless powder that it's natural, and it literally pierces the skin of the exoskeleton, or the skin of parasites, internal and external. You can sprinkle it on them. It clears them out. Touch wood, our hedgehogs here so far, touch wood, have been doing okay. Jacob was found by somebody who lived around the corner, who brought him to us, and we found little Diane in a neighbouring garden. So none of them, they were both babies, basically. The thing is as well, okay, I just want to add as well, I know this isn't about that. I watched a long time ago, deleted loads on YouTube. Oh, well, fab. Thanks, Diane. If you're interested in animals, I've got Penny Bunny as well. I only do animals over there now. But yeah, so the thing is, hedgehogs have 2 broods a year. They have a second brood, and a lot of their babies from brood number 2 don't make it. And it's just a really sad fact. Thank you. So we're in a bungalow as well. But yeah, okay, right, I'm going to end it there. But thank you to our super chatters. Thank you for the ones that have... Is it, Diane? Thanks for joining. I do politics as well now on the new channel. Penny for your thoughts. I'll just drop it in for you if you're interested in politics. I'm trying to keep everything separate now. So a lot of people don't realise that I've got a new channel. They think that everything... that I've just stopped doing politics and so on. I haven't stopped doing it at all. I just don't do it on the Penny Bunny channel. I just keep it all separate now. Right. I'm just going to drop my link in. 47 likes. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for sticking around with us. This is my politics channel, and entertainment and news and stuff like that. There you go. I've just dropped it there. Yeah, so Jacob's still with us. Diane has passed away. This channel's got 6.8 million views on it. Penny Bunny's got 77 point something million views. How mad, though? It's mad, and it's all shorts. It's just luck, really, isn't it? Hit the algorithm. Right, I'm just going to share Penny Bunny as well. Now, if you do join the membership at $2.99 on either one, you'll get added into the draw for the £10 Amazon gift card. This is Penny Bunny here. That's all animals now. Yeah, I do. What did Jenna ask? It's okay. Jenna, it's okay. Somebody was bound to ask. It's okay. Yeah, you can actually have it in your own. You can actually do smoothies with it and have a good parasite cleanse as well. Humans can. But yeah, I just put a bit in their food and then their calci worms, and I spray it with some water to soften the worms, mix it in, and they eat it. Well, there's not many hedgehogs around now. They all seem to disappear around this time. There's a couple around. There's not as many. But yeah, it's part of parcel, isn't it, of wildlife. Oh yeah, I've got some other really sad news, guys, as well. Wrong channel for this, but you guys are stuck around. We had 2 wood pigeons born in our back garden behind us. Sorry, the tree in the back garden behind the house. and I called them Peter and Paul, but then, hi Bev, Peter was the bigger of the two, and I started calling the other one Baby Peter. And Peter used to sit outside the back every day and eat the stuff that I put out for the little great tits at the back, and the blue tits, the gold tits, and the goldfinches. All the little birds have got their own bird feeders at the back, separate from the front ones that all the sparrows and the starlings have. And he grew really well, and Al found him yesterday, run over. He'd gone off and tried to cross the road and wander off, this baby had, and they'd crushed his head, the car had, and just drove off and left him. I was really, really upset. Al went and got him. People can laugh, I don't care. Al went and got him. I asked him to, and we brought him home and we buried him in the back garden. Because it's where he was born. He was born here. He's he's wildlife, but he was born in our back garden. And got him and put him in and buried him. So that broke our hearts. So that happened yesterday, and then we had Diane today. But baby Peter, the smaller one, he's okay. He's been out today having some food. He's ever so tiny. I'll put a picture up of him. But yeah, Peter's gone. It's just horrible, isn't it? I just can't. It's wildlife. What can we do? Again, this is the wrong channel for this. This is the serious channel. So apologies for going off on a tangent. But yeah, so we had Jenna ask about Diane, so I thought I'd tell you about Peter as well. It's so sad, guys. So sad. But then we have so many success stories as well, so it swings and roundabouts, isn't it? Right then, okay, so thanks for joining me. We'll be doing a part 2. Part 2 will be covering the members. Okay. I know, it's difficult, isn't it? I love my cat, Zool. Zool. Cool. Okay, right. So if you love animals, get onto the Penny Bunny channel. Guys, would you like me to do more on this then? Yeah, you said yeah, didn't you? Let me have a look, because I do want to go down to the current members and see just how many of them there are in the Labour Party at the moment. I'd like to know whether we've got any infiltrate. Hi, Nanny. We're literally just ending now, love. How you doing, Nanny darling? Not seen you for a while. You okay, sweetheart? Good to see you, hun. Yeah, so... Oh, that's good, Lee. Mine hasn't come back. We've got Robin's, but not our one. Last night I had to swerve. And dear Fab. Thank you, Tamsin. And I'm glad you enjoyed it all. Guys, if you're watching on the... if you're watching on the replay, we've got the replay crew, please hit the like and please let me know if you want more. I do think we need to go down the eugenics. It's very murky, but I think we will go down that route. Oh no, I'm so sorry, Nanny. We've been wondering where you are. In hospital. Oh no, are you better now, love? So yeah, we'll look at the current members and we'll also look at the eugenics and we'll take it from there. So I'll probably cut out the beginning and the end of this stream so that there's no dogs at the beginning and talking of animals at the end, and upload it as a video as well so that people can come back and watch it without all the other stuff in between. Okay, guys, I'm going to go, but thank you again for everyone who's supporting us. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you all. It'll probably be Tuesday or Wednesday night. I'll pop on and we'll do some more on this. And I was poorly on holiday in Rhodes with a kidney stone. Oh my gosh. Are you better now? My tummy's rumbling. Right, guys, take care. Good night. God bless. Bye.